is a provincial law for Ontario that was developed in 2005. The government recognized that roughly 1 in 7 Ontarians have a disability. Although this is a high statistic, it suggested that as many as 50% of us are actually directly or indirectly affected by a disability. The accessibility relates to goods, services, facilities, accommodation, employment, buildings, and premises. The Act has staggered compliance deadlines for addressing all of these areas, with the intent that all of Ontario will be fully compliant by the year 2025.
What does the customer service standard require organizations to do?
The customer service standard requires organizations to put in place policies, practices, and procedures to deal with customer service for persons with disabilities. Organizations also have to consider and declare how they will communicate with people with disabilities in the course of dealing with them.
So it really sounds like organizations have to carefully think through all of the ramifications of ensuring customer service for those with disabilities. And I can imagine that takes some planning, because it's not just about accommodating the person with disabilities, it's also about accommodating any support features they have. Is that right?
Exactly. One such example is service animals. The customer service standard permits guide dogs or other service animals on your organization's premises, including places like the grocery store, restaurants, and retail outlets. The standard also permits a person with a disability to keep a service animal with them at all times while on the organization's premises, unless a service animal is specifically excluded by law. An assistive device is anything that assists an individual with a disability. It might be something as simple as a cane or a walker, or as significant as a wheelchair, or it could be electronic like a personal amplifier. It could also be something a bit more complex, such as a personal oxygen tank. Regardless of an organization's physical space or existing security, persons with disabilities must be able and allowed to enter your premises with your assistive devices. Training is critical, but a training session can never address all of the possible ways in which to service a person with disability, because there's so many different types of disabilities out there. So it's important for organizations to request feedback and suggestions from their staff and their customers in an effort to seek to address any new challenges that arise.
How can an employee or staff take the customer's disability into account when they're communicating with them?
That's a great question. And to answer it, let's look at some of the common types of disabilities. For example, people with physical disabilities have restricted mobility. They may have canes, walkers, or wheelchairs. Meet them at eye level and speak directly to the individual. Always ask permission first before trying to assist them. And respect their personal space. Don't lean on their wheelchair or any other type of assistive device. Don't move any other personal belongings unless you ask first. And if you're going to assist, describe what you're going to do beforehand. And most importantly, do not leave them in an awkward or undignified position while you're assisting them. For example, don't leave their wheelchair in a corner. Remember that the AODA is based on ensuring the respect and dignity of Ontario citizens that happen to have a disability. They are still a customer or client of your business, and as such, a very important person to interact with.